Mm.
Merry Christmas and welcome to episode 277 of the Working Fans Podcast, where today we are going to talk the worst of 2024. We are going to talk Final Battle. We're going to talk Saturday night's main event. But we don't talk about any of that until we talk about Game Up Hard Hydration. It's like your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink got together, had a baby, but it's so much better. Dave, let them know why we love Game Up.
Well, Joe, it's because it's got 4 great flavors: fruit punch, orange, lemon lime, and grape, and it's only 110 calories, and it's low carb too. So that's why we love Game Up. Thank you, Game Up, for sponsoring the show.
So now we are going to go from the best to the worst. We're
The
talking worst of 2024 this week. And Dave, how easy did you find it to put this list together? Because I had some trouble myself.
Yeah, it's not really my thing. I had to kind of get creative because I'm very forgiving, and I try not to put it on the talent a lot of times. But I did it. I got kind of instead of worst wrestlers, I kind of went with like characters I don't like the most, stuff that's not really hitting with me, and stuff like that. So I got it. But yeah, I found it challenging.
Yeah, in any of these cases, like when we had to pick worst male, worst female, worst tag team, I kind of tended to do like worst booked or what I'm enjoying the least.
Yeah.
Because like we've never stepped in a ring. So for us to like qualify who is like the worst in the ring, that's not what we're saying. We are talking, just how they've been perceived. And we'll start off. I've got Adam Cole for male wrestler. I feel like at the beginning of the year, there was so much hype for that Devil storyline and just Adam Cole in general. And he came back and he really has kind of been a non-factor in AEW, in my eyes at least.
That's funny. I don't know. I didn't know if we were doing a worst storyline of the year. So are we doing a worst storyline?
No, we got male, female, tag team, match, pay-per-view, company, and feud.
That's okay. Good. I'm going to mention that here because this would have been easy for me if we had a storyline. But I'll do the person too. But for storyline, I thought, man, MJF and Adam Cole just really fell off a cliff for me this year. It just really didn't hit. And I didn't think to put that on necessarily Cole because I found Cole interesting, but at the same time, I will say that this whole storyline, especially when it became about him and the Undisputed Era, it just fell off a cliff. But I went with other wrestlers who their character really just didn't connect with me. And I actually have a couple here. Big Bill, Chris Jericho, talented wrestlers, but their characters just don't do it for me at all. I'm just not into the learning tree. So that was it. At one point, I would have probably put Tony D'Angelo here. But that man made like a comeback of the year for me because I would not call him necessarily one of my favorites, but I found him interesting and more compelling when we got into that Obafemi storyline earlier this year.
Definitely. I feel like that feud really kind of made him this year.
Yeah.
And then like all the stuff with Charlie Dempsey has just made him, that much more compelling. You have him with Nunzio. They just did enough where they really built him up. Somebody they didn't build up.
Yeah.
My female choice of the year, Camille. I feel like she should have been so much bigger coming in from NWA. She is such a powerhouse. She's playing, I believe, June Byers in that women's wrestling movie coming up. And she has just been, Mercedes kind of heavy, but even then they've made her look dumb, ineffective, and it really kind of soured. Like I haven't really been digging her running AEW so far.
I might be in the minority of this. I know she's not supposed to be a main event player. I know she's new. I know she's supposed to be entertaining. I don't have anything against her, but my least engaging female character right now is Harley Cameron. Just doesn't do it for me. And I find that pretty much every match I know she's going to lose anyway. So I find myself just fast forwarding a lot of her matches at times.
That's funny when we get to talking about ROH later, but Getting to tag teams. I mean, tag team wrestling overall has suffered this year.
Yeah.
If I had to go with the thing I was least into, I would have to say the Young Bucks.
That's so funny because if you remember, I actually picked them as my tag team of the year because I thought we just didn't have a lot of like really great tag team storylines. I thought they were the most consistent team for part of the year, but they're my worst tag team because I found them the least engaging, which should tell you how I felt about tag wrestling this year. I just wasn't into tag wrestling this year as much as I would have liked to have been. I do feel, though, there's hope. I am seeing almost in both companies, too. I feel like we're starting to try to push newer teams. Like you see DIY coming back in WWE, and you have the Motor City Machine Guns there now. And then you look over on AEW, Private Party has the tag titles now, and you seems like Top Flight and Action Andretti and Leo Rush. So I'm not saying I would call this a win for tag team wrestling right now, but I am interested. It looks like we're trying to reboot tag team wrestling in both companies.
And it's funny because it's almost the Private Party winning those tag team championships and then being such ineffective champs after it, even though they've had this story built up, that I feel it's kind of like where the Bucks have fallen. Like maybe if the Bucks had a bigger year to me, that Private Party win would have felt bigger, and it just would have felt more like something. But like I don't know. It was hard for me to pick a team like this because I enjoy tag team wrestling, but I mean I just didn't feel like the Bucks. They didn't do what they should have, losing those titles to Private Party.
Yeah, I just found it like they were the least engaging for me, and they represented a lot of tag team wrestling. I actually thought their Private Party feud was probably the best thing they did, but I just overall just wasn't feeling their run, and I didn't really enjoy their whole gimmick. Other than Okada, I just didn't really enjoy a lot of their gimmick this year.
Yeah. Now, how did you come about picking your match of the year? Because for me, it really was recency bias.
Yeah. So for worst match of the year, I kind of cheated, and I just basically went anything with Harley Cameron because I just find myself fast forwarding and just not really engaged with anything with her.
Wow. I picked Chris Jericho and Matt Cardona from ROH Final Battle.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
I think I had built it up in my own mind. And then, like you said, we'll cover it later. But, like, the ending just kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah.
And,
so did Bandito.
Now, pay-per-view / PLE of the year. This is another tough one because we're at the end of the year. They kind of all blend together.
Yeah.
But for me, I chose All Out. Just because it happened on still kind of close to All In, and storylines or just things that happen there kind of, they're less memorable for me because that All In was so big.
Yeah, I will go. I'll bring you two. I like what you said there. That's a good one because it was really kind of tied together. But for me, remember we talked last year how much I love that Bad Blood watch along and how good that was. Extreme Rules. Although I did it getting up at 5:30 in the morning, that made that one of the more least enjoyable shows. Can't say that it was a bad show, but that was a bad experience. So I'll go with that one.
Definitely.
Or Elimination Chamber, not Extreme Rules. The one in Australia that was like that. Yeah. So
yeah, I was wondering. I was like, Extreme Rules, but yeah, I remember you got up early for that.
Yeah, you joined me like a half hour into it.
Yeah, that was a fun day.
No, that had messed me up.
Company of the year. To me, this is very easy, and it hurts me to say it because I previously really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
NWA fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I was gonna say they're not bad, but AEW just lost the most momentum this year because I feel like they've gotten so cold, and you can see it with their ratings and attendance, and So it's not just us, but like they're just not as engaging. But they still have stuff that I like. So I do like your pick of NWA. And I'll tell you another reason why, because they've gotten so bad for me that I didn't even think about them. And I used to really enjoy them. So yeah, all right. I feel your energy on that one. We'll go with that.
Yeah, apparently you can only watch them on X now, which is really weird, because there was a while ago in the group text, we had one of our friends asking us when Tim Storm was doing this Baron Von Storm thing. And I had only seen it because of social media. But it's like they went from a place where they were on the CW app to when NXT got on CW, they were just gone. And I would love a comeback for them. I'd like to be able to watch them, someplace like YouTube, like a regular method. So that's been tough.
Yeah, I mean, this is unrelated, but TNA just got a deal with Sportsnet in Canada, which is like a big channel for Canada. And I thought about, like, I'm really happy. And I know they booked some bigger arenas this year. And like TNA wrestling is doing what I had hoped NWA would have done initially, but it's what it is.
100%. And we are going to end on feud of the year. I feel like we're going to agree on this one, because you mentioned
I was already talking about it, but go ahead.
Adam Cole versus MJF. Spoiler alert. I believe last year when I was talking predictions for 2024, I had high hopes for this feud. I can't wait to play that clip next week and look like a fucking fool. But it was funny how different a year makes. How last year there was such anticipation about what it was. We were ready for everything. And then it just kind of went nowhere. And that doesn't happen with all AEW things. But I think this was an AEW storyline that really had the potential to capture people, and they missed the boat on it, and it sucks.
I think Bruce Pritchard would say it was snake bit. When you look at all the different injuries, MJF having to leave to do a movie, it was so many stop and goes, and this feud just never got to take off. I won't say I didn't enjoy is almost too strong. I thought their promo exchange recently they did on a Collision at the Hammerstein Ballroom wasn't bad. MJF was his old self again, making a joke. I don't know if you got to see it, but he talked about, I hear you can't see your favorite dentist anymore, and they're taking jabs at each other and stuff like that. But even then, man, it was like, to me, it's like, it's a little too late. Like, they got a match this Saturday at World's End, and I'm just not that into it, Which, by the way, did you know that World's End is this Saturday?
I did hear something about that. That's awesome. And, there's some out there that would say AEW's dead, and they are wrong. So before we talk about ROH Final Battle, I want to play a quick advertisement from somebody else who isn't dead, and you should buy his book and hear his story. That's Black Bart.
All you got some wrestling fans out there, listen, old Black Bart has got a book. It's called Wrestle Black Bart. It's got some dead good stories in there about some dead good wrestlers.
Read stories of Dusty Rhodes, the Von Erich, Scott Casey, Sergeant Slaughter, Roddy Piper, Mr. Fuji, Ron Bass, Bruiser Brody, Mike Davis, the Grappler, and many others.
And I guarantee you one thing, that it'll be the best dadgum read you've had in a long time.
Get your book today at Russellville.com or on Amazon. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.
Shout out to Black Bart. We just wanted to promote that book with everything going on, making his way home. Thoughts are with you, Bart. But our thoughts are also with ROH Final Battle. Dave, did you get to watch the whole show?
Not the 0 hour, but yes, I did watch the whole show.
All right. Well, I did not catch the main event. and I did not rewatch the latter half of the card, but we're going to go through 0 Hour really quick.
Okay.
Dark Order versus Grizzled Young Vets. I thought this was a great tag match to open the show.
I was surprised Grizzled Vets were still in the company. Just wanted to throw that out there. Glad to see it, though.
Drake pinned Silver after a high-low. Great match. Then they played a Billy Starks Athena package. And then Dave's personal favorite match of the pre-show, Harley Cameron versus Hanako.
Yeah.
It was a good match. I didn't care about it going in, but it was decent. Hanako won with a torture rack to a face plant. Sons of Texas versus the Righteous video package. So later on, you're going to see Dutch talking about being a favorite of Dusty, or Dusty having influence on him and handing down that cowbell. That's because Dutch was in NXT at one point. Yes. So that's how we had the Dusty connection. And to me, it sounded like the cowbell was passed down from Dusty. That doesn't become official until later. Following that, the next match on the pre-show was the Infantry versus the Undisputed Kingdom. It was another great tag match. Rockstar Supernova for the win. Bennett pins Dean. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, all right, so we've had 2 great tag matches on the pre-show.
Right.
Which stood out to me because when we're talking about tag team wrestling suffering, it's almost like ROH is this hidden wealth of talent. Like, I'm a big fan of the Infantry.
Yeah.
Big fan of the Undisputed Kingdom.
If they could do something like and get on a different platform, I think ROH could possibly give like AEW a run for their money. I don't know if Tony Khan's booking ROH too, but I feel like ROH is definitely the adage less is more. I feel like the booking's a little more simple, straightforward, and that was something I enjoyed watching the show.
Yeah, this was followed by a Chris Jericho video package, which had me wondering, what if the rematch between Jericho and Cardona happens at the Hammerstein Ballroom for GCW? Interesting food for thought.
Yeah.
But last match on the pre-show, Lee Johnson and NJ Nduka versus the Gates of Agony. This is when I wrote the note ROH tag division, I think, is the deepest after WWE.
Yeah.
Just because this is the 3rd tag match, and all these tag matches I thought were great. And maybe there is something to your Harley Cameron thing, because I thought the Harley Cameron match was all right, but I thought these matches were great.
I was happy to see EJ Nduka from his MLW days. I was happy to see him doing something with ROH, and I also was happy to see Lee Johnson still around. And they made a little heel turn afterwards, so maybe that'll be something where they'll get a little more of a push. But yeah, I
was about to say Gates of Agony hit the gates on Lee Johnson twice, and then the pin, and then there was a double turn at the end. Yeah. So very interesting story coming out of this. Overall, real enjoyable pre-show, a lot of wrestling, and I thought just enough video packages to kind of make you aware of the bigger matches. My brother went into this knowing nothing, and I thought, they did enough to catch you up. The main show starts. I thought it was a great video package hyping the importance of Final Battle in ROH, kind of as the big end of the year show, as well as highlights of the big matches on the show. And the opening match, Atlantis Jr. versus Mansoor. What did you think of this match? I didn't realize there was a history between these guys.
I didn't realize there was a history at all either. I will say this. I was pleasantly surprised at times how Mansoor, I thought, was keeping up with Atlantis Jr. in the beginning with chain wrestling a little bit. Sometimes I thought it got a little clunky because I thought they were trying to do too much at different times. But I was pleasantly surprised. Overall, Atlantis Jr. is one of those talents that I kind of forget about. I don't watch a lot of Atlantis Jr., but when I see him, I'm like, this guy can go. I do enjoy his work.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match, but I questioned if it was the right one to kick off the main card.
Yes, that's a great point. Yeah,
because I thought switch this with the Kingdom and the Infantry. And, that way you're kicking off the main show with a good tag match. You're featuring your tag division. you have those ROH staples that are classic in the Undisputed Kingdom, Taven and Bennett. And then you've got the infantry who are like the new favorites.
Yes.
At the end of the match, Danhausen comes from under the ring, punches Mason Madden in the dick. Atlantis hits hip with a dive to the outside, hits him with a dive to the outside. Sunset flips Mansoor. Mansoor goes to the outside. Atlantis goes over the top on MXM. Frog splash on Mansoor for the win. Big ending kind of run there. Mason Madden post-match attack interrupted by Danhausen. Poured teeth in his mouth. How happy are you for the Danhausen return?
It did not do a damn thing for me.
I was going to say, we'll move on. You almost sound as excited about meeting Santa tonight, but
Yes.
Video promoting Collision and Dynamite from Hammerstein and End of the Year shows was after that, followed by a video of Chris Jericho backstage. The mic sounded like shit when the interviewer was talking to Jericho, but it cleaned up when Jericho got on the mic. You know, disingenuous hyping of New York.
Yeah.
This went from going, like, I thought this felt beyond tired to this is almost where it felt hilarious, and I enjoyed the promo for what it was.
Right.
I'm still not a fan of Jericho, like, at the moment, but, like, this is the best of Jericho that I've seen lately.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it's almost like one of those comedic bits that I'm not particularly enjoying, but he's so committed to it. He's kind of wearing me down at different times. Like, all right. You know.
This was followed by the match that I was most excited for when I saw it announced. Katsuyori Shibata versus Tommy Billington. What did you think of this match? Did you enjoy it as much as I did?
Pleasant surprise to see Tommy Billington on this card. Here's a guy I wished it was doing more and I wish was on AEW. I feel like you could do more with him. I mean, just given his style, you know, seeing him against somebody like a Ricochet or an Osprey, you know. Actually, we'll talk about him later, but Commander and stuff will have some really good matches with too, I bet. But he had a great match here with Shibata. I enjoyed this match. I hope we see more of Tommy Billington, though. I feel like he has a great upside.
Definitely. Shibata won with a rear naked choke. This was followed by a Jay Lethal and QT Marshall video recap. Another match with long time history. I didn't realize it. Nothing huge, but makes this match feel like something. Followed by QT Marshall versus Jay Lethal. I enjoyed this match way more than I expected to. QT coming out dressed like Macho Man.
NWO.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jay Lethal coming out like Black Machismo with the sensational Karen Jarrett.
Yes, that was a nice touch.
I put super gimmicky match, but that's fine. It's to be expected from Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett right now.
Yeah.
Fun, but gimmicky. At one point, they had him. Who is the woman that was with the other team? Because he picks her up and does the Elizabeth spot.
I was wondering if that was QT's wife. I never looked into that. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but then it was revealed, you know, it wasn't Karen. She was giving him the eyes. It led to Jeff Jarrett coming down, but Lethal.
Hold on. I have
Dave's getting the answer.
I have our trusted source Wikipedia has something here that I had up just like remembering some of the matches. They have a name. I'm not going to actually look up her through Wikipedia, but I am going to look up. They have a name here. Looks like Karen.
You're going to Google her in OnlyFans.
I'm going to Google her though, yeah, because I don't. I want to see more.
Well, the match ended. Lethal hit Marshall with a cutter and pins Marshall. So,
yeah, interesting. Interesting. Well, so if you look her up, there's another Karen Fazio that shows up from like these LinkedIn profiles. So it's kind of hard to know.
All right. Well, we'll move on.
We'll move on.
Red Velvet versus Layla Hirsch video package, and Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet for the ROH Women's Television Championship.
You remember how
it was wrapped out to the ring by Red? I believe. I didn't know who this lady was, but did her thing.
Remember how I said earlier that I was pleasantly surprised by Mansoor able to like chain wrestle a little more, but it got clunky at the end? It was similar to this match. I felt like there was some great chain wrestling and different things that I liked at times, but it also got clunky at some times. I do not know why. I love Layla Hurst. I like her style for her size because she kind of comes off like a little pit bull. But one move I would get away from her arsenal, and it's just my take, the snake eyes. I never know why she does that, because to me, a lot of times it misses horribly. If it goes well, it goes well, but I've seen it mess up quite a few times, and I feel like her height is part of the issue with that. I mean, if you think of guys who did like the snake eyes before, the first ones that comes to my mind was like Kevin Nash, you know?
Yeah, I could see it. A great match. I thought Velvet got a piece of the turnbuckle from under the ring. Paul Turner took it, and while he was distracted, Velvet hits Hirsch with a wrench that she had hidden and gets the pin. It was a gimmicky end, but I enjoyed the match overall.
Yeah, it was fine. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as you, but I would say I enjoyed it overall.
Followed by a Lee Moriarty open challenge video, shows the judges, Jerry Lynn, Rocky Romero, Christopher Daniels. And then you have the official open challenge. Lee Moriarty comes out. Nigel McGuinness responds and makes it old school rules. And Dave, I just want to know if there was one quote from this match that you just giggled the whole day about, what would it be?
I don't know, because this is what I was going to tell you. This got spoiled for me because when I was watching Final Battle, I watched this one from the middle for a bit right before I went to bed, because I tuned in and I was so excited to see McGuinness, and I missed like the beginning pre-talk. So when I went back to watch it, I didn't think of it, and I did hear that he had some pretty funny lines, but I never went back to watch it, so I don't know.
So you don't know what the line is?
I have no idea. No.
You're gonna make me say this on Christmas Day wearing
No.
a Christmas
It's up to you.
Right, we're gonna take down the graphic for a moment so you can see my face while I do this. Dave, get ready, because you missed the line. Just because you have hair around your mouth, there's no excuse for talking like a pussy.
Actually,
Merry Christmas, everybody.
About this, and I'll tell you why. I did end up seeing this quote. Here's why I forgot about it: because I accidentally opened that video. I saw a clip of it next to my girlfriend. She's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, I don't know, and I didn't know, so I just deleted that. But I didn't hear the hair on the mouth part. I just heard him call him a pussy, so that's why I didn't. Okay, that's pretty good.
Word around the water cooler is that's what Santa's going to be muttering behind the shed tonight. But Nigel is exploiting the rules early for to get the advantage on Moriarty, because that's how he always played these matches.
Yeah.
Shane Taylor calls out Paul Turner, so there's a second ref. Moriarty starts to turn the tide. Great match. Moriarty tapped out Nigel with a crossface, and this was very enjoyable.
I'm happy Lee got the win, even though I'm a big Nigel fan, and I'm happy to see Nigel back, and I wish that maybe he'd get a few wins on this comeback, but at the same time, seeing him put over a talent like Lee is pretty cool.
Yeah, this was followed by Sons of Texas versus the Righteous video package. I was mostly unfamiliar with this feud, but this video had me excited for the match. Hard not to enjoy a double bull rope match. There was a couple years ago, we went to a Final Battle with a double dog collar match. So
yeah, Briscoes and FTR, amazing. I really enjoyed the element that they talked about. This was the bull rope and the bell that was used on Superstar Billy Graham, and I liked a lot of that talk. It really made this match mean a little more to me, because I was like, oh, that's interesting. Even though like obviously to me, if that's legit, then that means Dustin obviously has the bell and they're using it. I don't buy that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I just didn't see Dusty probably giving it to Dutch.
Yep. I mean, fight broke out before the bull ropes could be applied.
Yes.
Vincent resists being attached to a rope at first, but eventually Dustin attaches to Dutch. Sammy attaches to Vincent. And I'm going to be honest, on my rewatch, that's about as far as I got. I really enjoyed this match. I watched it that Friday. I kind of fell asleep during a few matches.
Mhm.
I was awake for this. I did enjoy it. But as far as my notes being super descriptive, that's where it stops on my end.
Just a fun brawl. I mean, Dustin and Sammy over deliver. I feel like every time, especially Dustin at his age, to deliver the way he does. And happy that they got the win because Dustin still had not had an AEW contract when this match was taking place. I don't know if you read the news, but he actually did sign an AEW contract. I saw something about it yesterday as of recording this. So super cool. He says he's probably going to finish his career out in AEW. I mean, hey, there's a part of me that would have liked to see him with Cody in WWE for a little bit, right? Just because such a big stage. But I also like to see if there's one guy who's been handled pretty well in AEW, especially with his most recent Ring of Honor run, it's Dustin Rhodes. So happy for him.
Yes, we had Brian Cage defending, I believe it's the ROH television champion.
It is. So
multi-man match, Commander, AR Fox, Blake Christian, Mark Davis, and Willie Mack going up for that championship.
So this was the match that I love the most, and I would recommend if you're going back to ever watch this show, this is the one I would watch. For one of these like survival of the fittest matches. Like I don't know, so many people involved and stuff. I wasn't sure like if I was gonna love it, but it was so crazy. Blake Christian comes out here and he's got like a vanilla ice cream cone light shining in the background as when he comes out. I don't know what that's from. Is it like somebody calling him vanilla and he's like kind of running with it? I don't quite get it, but he had quite a response for Hammerstein Ballroom, I think, because of his GCW connection. Because obviously, he's more of a heel. But Brian Cage was eliminating people. I want to say it was AR Fox he eliminated, Willie Mack, and he was just on fire. And all of a sudden, Mark Davis eliminates Brian Cage, and we know we're going to have a new TV champion. And right as they're putting that over, here comes Blake Christian with a low blow, and he eliminates Mark Davis, and it's down to Blake Christian and Commander. The crowd is going insane because I guess Commander was close to winning last year too. And I thought, okay, the way they set it up, it looked like Blake Christian was going to have his moment, but no, this crowd was nuts for it. And Commander walks away, the new ROH TV champion.
Yeah, big title change on this show. Next up, Chris Jericho versus Matt Cardona.
Yeah, a lot of gimmicky shit.
World Championship. I was expecting Cardona to win it. I was hoping.
Yeah.
But this felt, once again, like another gimmicky match. It didn't felt like it matched up to the expectation I had for it.
I think a lot of it had to do with the booking. I would have liked to seen Cardona win because I really thought that'd be cool to set up GCW's appearance in Hammerstein with Cardona as the ROH champion. Like you said afterwards, maybe Cardona will win the the ROH title at GCW. That's something they could do. I haven't heard that match announced or anything yet, but I really would have liked to see Cardona going in as Ring of Honor champion. I think it would have meant more for that show. I think I was excited about that prospect. I was excited about Cardona holding the ROH title, beating Jericho, and it didn't happen. And instead it ended up being kind of gimmicky match. They had his dad out there. They had a lot of interference, and Jericho ended up getting the win. And then we had a Bandito come back where he got concussed afterwards. And I think for me personally, I mean, I'm sorry Bandito got concussed, but I was more upset because I thought it kind of swept Cardona under the rug. And it felt like, okay, we're moving in a new direction. And I was like, it's not what I wanted. I don't know. It's just not what I wanted personally.
Yeah, I mean, Cardona could have lost and it would have been fine, but it was him getting hit in the head with the belt and then pinned. And then on top of that, you've got Bandito coming back. So like you said, it kind of overshadows Cardona, and it feels like that's the obvious next step that they'll move forward to. It just kind of left me feeling flat. And that is why I have not seen this main event yet. that first night, I was so tired, and like this deflated me enough where I was like, I'm just going to go to bed. And it's been such a busy week with the holiday and everything that I just wasn't able to catch up with this. So how did you enjoy this main event?
I enjoyed it a lot. Athena delivers and over delivers every time I get to see her in these main events. Billy Starks was fantastic as well, but it's something about, this is one of the most meaningful women's title reigns right now in wrestling. Like, she continues and continues to reign as champion. And at some point, they got to pull the trigger and have her lose. And I'd like to see her more on the AEW broadcast. I feel like she would add a lot to it, but it has yet to happen. And I feel like this is one of the best things Ring of Honor has going for it.
100%. We had originally planned to talk to you about Saturday night's main event, but Dave's feeling it. I'm feeling it. I got to call, find out what's going on with the family party tonight. So we're going to talk about Saturday night. What's that?
I said, I can just tell you how I felt real quick. I mean,
all right, give it to us. And
we'll
then
give you just nostalgia, like it was a great nostalgia show. It just made you feel good. Like, I don't even, you can talk about the matches. There were some good matches, but there wasn't one match that necessarily blew me away. It was just, every match was fun. The pace was excellent, and it was mixed in with stuff like they had a little video package in the beginning with an old VHS tape. And, you're seeing people, they had the old voice, we interrupt Saturday Night Live so we can present to you, Saturday. And I was like, this is perfect. This is everything I want. Jesse Ventura was obviously a little rusty at times. We talked about this in the group chat. But I want to talk about, I think it was Jalen Pollock or Wei Ting talked about at the end of that. I felt like he was really starting to get his legs underneath him. And I will say this, for a guy who's clearly not up to date on all the product, Jesse Ventura still has great instincts at times as a heel color guy. And I love some of that dynamic. Jesse still is Jesse. He knows who he is. And I also would say, too, I'll throw this out there. Kevin Owens, I think this was talked about, too. He is such a great character for Jesse Ventura to kind of work with, because Kevin is that heel who has a lot of truth to what he says. And Jesse he goes in hard on that kind of stuff. So overall, though, fun, entertaining, nostalgia show that will just make you feel good.
Yes, and I see we got a comment coming in here. So, Randy Osga, Merry Christmas, Randy. Jesse was great on commentary. Gotta agree with you there. Yeah. And I love it because Dave is nostalgic for Saturday night's main event. And I've got to agree, but Dave, I'm nostalgic for the summer when we had those nice, cold Game Up hard hydrations. If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.
Read about the Northern Wrestling Federation in the book presented by Russellville.com, The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2. Hear the story of Roger Ruffin, the man who trained Carl Anderson, the Monster Abyss, Jordan Clearwater, Chris Harris, and Jillian Hall.
Plus 45 other short stories, including Jazz, Bobby Eaton, Kamala, Thunder Rosa, Mario Mancini, Scott Casey, PJ Black, Kerry Morton, Sal Renaro, Jeremiah Plunkett, Colby Carino, Bam Bam Malone, and many others.
Get your book today at Russellville.com. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.
Author Ray Lopez presents Lock Up, Professional Wrestling in Our World. Lock Up dives headfirst into the colorful world of professional wrestling. Explore the iconic characters, careers, matches, history, and families, and delve into the bizarre and fascinating entwining of professional wrestling and film, television, football, politics, gender, and race. Pre-orders are available now on Amazon.com or at MascotBooks.com. This is the perfect gift for the wrestling fan in your life. Pick up a copy today on Amazon.com or at MascotBooks.com. Pirello's Italian-style Pilsner. This is about to become your new favorite beer because our Italian-style Pils offers a blend of old-world traditions and contemporary craftsmanship. It has a light, crispy taste with a delicate hop presence, which makes this beer have an Italian flair. It's available in 6-packs at Divine Wine Emporium, 245 West Main Street, Niantic, Connecticut, or at your nearest liquor store.